Today I have a very unusual topic because I'm going to explain to you what happened when the conservative movement said you could drive a car on the Sabbath, but only to drive it to the synagogue. This stopped everything. Now what happened before then? The conservative movement was built in order to conserve Judaism, conserve all the laws like the Orthodox, but try to make it so that we in America could use it. It's more palatable for us, like all the little things they did away with. So everything was hunky-dory. The main synagogue in New York had separate seating, and women wore the head covering. They got along with things that Orthodox did, except many synagogues did have mixed seating. They were allowed to do that. So what happened in the end? World War II came along, and all the soldiers came back from war, and they had no place to live. So many soldiers came, and we had to get apartments for them, and they said, where are we going to put all these people? So like Levittown, Long Island, all the places that you and I never heard of, Jewish people used to live among each other, next to each other, in Manhattan, the Lower East Side, the way they lived. But then when the soldiers came back, they had to find a place. So they moved all over, like 50 miles, 100 miles from Manhattan, from Jewish communities. So then the synagogue decided, that's the conservative, from now on, every Jew can drive a car on the Sabbath, but where? Only to synagogue. This was so ridiculous. How were they going to do that? Because they started to live 100 miles, 2 hours away, 4 hours away. So the two synagogues opened in Manhattan. They were conservative, but they say they were Orthodox conservative. So the people loved those synagogues, and they lived like 2 hours, 4 hours away. So every Saturday, people used to drive to Manhattan, and how long they drove, and they loved it, and then they drove home. So this did not really work out. Why didn't it work out? The car. Because once you're in a car, when you go to synagogue, you want to stop just for a game of tennis, or have a cup of coffee. I'll stop over here, or I have my hair done. You're in the car. You're not going to keep all the things, but you do go to synagogue. They did make it, and they did pray, but what was the result? The result is, this was the death nail of the Jewish community life, because no longer could these people know each other's families. They would drive 2 hours after synagogue. They never had a kiddush. They didn't have a cup of coffee together. They did not invite each other to each other's homes. Of course, going to a shiva call if somebody dies, that was out. They had no idea that this guy had a wife and 2 kids at home who died, because each one had a separate life. From then on, they did drive the car, and they did go to the synagogue, but there was no life. They did not learn Torah. Their children did not know each other, so they married Christians. They all live in the end of the world. Over there, the neighbors were all Christians, and they hung out with them, and they got to know their life is better than mine. If you're going to be, you have to live among a Jew. A Jew is a Jew is a Jew. When we live up near each other, we build up yeshivas, we build up day schools, and we talk about Israel. let's go to Israel, or let's learn Hebrew. We talked about Jewish things, but no longer did that exist. The conservative movement today, that's in Riverdale, they're exactly like the Orthodox in every way. Only one thing they still do, that mixed seating, men and women pray together. That is true even in Riverdale. But when you go to their synagogue, everything is exactly like we are the Orthodox. They love orthodoxy. They call it conservadox now. How do you like that? So when now it comes Shavuos, we celebrate the giving of the Torah to us. So let us have in mind, from now on, to be closer to other Jews, to live with them, and interact with Jewish people, because our heart is Jewish, and we cannot go to live in the end of the world, like a 6-hour drive, and then go to synagogue, and then live among Christians miles away and expect to have a Jewish life. Let us pray, all of us will remember that we want to live in Jewish communities and do Jewish stuff. Let's remember, because soon is going to be a Jewish holiday, and we will get together and we will pray and we will eat cheesecake, which is the law for that time, and we will sing Torah, 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 Torah,